Hybrid TWS earbuds? Let's check these out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out these. Well, let me pull one out so you can see. These are the Soundpeats H1 Hybrid TWS earbuds. TWS is True Wireless Stereo. You're probably familiar with that acronym, but suffice to say, these are yet another entry in a really crowded market, but these are pretty cool. They have some nice features worth exploring and examining. So, first off, I will say that it opens up and they go in the correct ear. So the right side goes in your right ear, and you can see it's a pretty big earbud. There's a lot of circuitry in here. So what I find is to put it in and then just give it just a little gentle turn towards the front of your head, and you get a nice secure fit. You can see in this close-up, it fits in, it takes over most of your ear. But the benefit is that it gives you a good acoustic isolation, which then means you have less background and ambient noise, and you can enjoy your music or whatever else you're doing. And that's actually a huge plus. Now, they feature a hybrid 8.6 millimeter dual driver that has a Knowles balanced armature. What the heck's a Knowles balanced armature? It's a type of circuitry that gives you more clarity, more dynamic range, and it boosts the treble a little bit. We're going to come back and talk about treble versus bass and the sound, but let's just get through the specs first. So it has what they call passive noise cancellation, which I actually refer to as acoustic barrier, right? So you put this in your ear and you can't hear everything around you as well as you could without it in your ear. Makes sense, right? So it supports AAC, SBC, aptX, low latency. All of those are super important. So AAC gets you the best quality on your iPhone, and aptX works great with things like this, and this is the Google Pixel 5. So just sort of in passing, it's the latest and greatest. So this is also the latest and greatest. In fact, these are running, I think they're the first ones I've seen that are running Bluetooth 5.2. And not only that, but they also feature the Qualcomm True Wireless QCC3040. And that's a new chipset from Qualcomm. And what it gets you is it gets you easier mirroring, easier pairing, and either ear mono. So you can just take an ear out, put it in the case to charge, and just seamlessly, it'll just switch things around so you always hear all your music. It's pretty slick, actually. They also have a gaming mode. So it already has aptX low latency, but there's a special gaming mode on these that gets you less than 30 milliseconds of latency. Now, that's going to cost you a little bit in battery life because it just sort of amps up everything so it consumes a little more electricity. But if you're gaming and that 100 milliseconds or 80 milliseconds, whatever it is slow enough that you're getting shot from someone behind you because you hear the audio but you can't quite react in time, these will save you. So really, the only way to have less latency is to have a wired connection, like wired headphones, but who wants wired? Come on. Now, here's something that I found a little confusing on the Soundpeats H1 Kickstarter page, is they talk about having an AI voice assistant where you just say, "Hi Soundpeats," and then you can talk to it as if you had said, "Hi Siri," or something like that. But that's only in the premium model, and this is just the Soundpeats H1. This is the non-premium model. So, like a complete maroon, I sat there for a couple of minutes saying, "Hi Soundpeats, hi Soundpeats, hi Soundpeats," and nothing happened because they're the wrong model. So don't follow my example with that. Now, they also feature CVC 8.0 noise cancellation, which only comes into play if you're making a phone call. So what are they like on a phone call? They're good, not amazing, because as with all of these sort of devices, that's a long way for your voice to travel, but it is certainly entirely functional. And the person on the other end was like, "Hey, you sound all right." I mean, a little distant, but not horribly so. So if you want to wear these and have a call while you're on a walk or something, that'll work just fine. So they also have touch controls, and I want to start out with their handy little graphic example or illustration of how all the touch controls work. All right, you got all that? Because I have no idea what that all means. Fortunately, there's also a table of how all the taps and buttons and everything work. But honestly, once you figure out how to turn on and off key features like gaming mode, you're probably going to do most of your controls from your source device anyway, so possibly it won't matter that much. Still, good to know that it does have the touch and it does have the multiple tap here, double tap here, all that sort of sequence. If these are your only earbuds, probably you'll figure it out and you'll be great and happy to know that, like, louder, softer, and all that sort of thing. Your mileage may vary. So, battery life. These last somewhere between 6 to 10 hours, and it's a little hard for me to say because these are still late production prototypes, because they actually aren't shipping for a couple more months. It's still on Kickstarter, so they sent me an early pair. So these are 5 to 6 hours. They say they should be able to up that battery life a little bit, so I'm gonna say somewhere 6 to 10 hours, and you get 5 recharges on this super nice, lightweight little recharging case, and it takes 1.5 hours to get your earbuds from 0 to 100, and 2.5 hours if you charge the base via the USB-C on the back. But this has a little secret too. If I turn on my little OtterBox Qi charging pad and put these on, you will notice that they are charging wirelessly. So as with any wireless charging, that's slower, but if you want to do that just for convenience purposes, it's convenient and super handy. Now, you will notice that I actually opened it this way, but I had to turn it around so you could see the charge light. I'm not sure that's a great design on their choice. So basically the charge light is next to the USB-C, but if I'm actually charging it wirelessly, I'd kind of rather have that indicator on the front. And by the same token, you open it up and you can see the charge level on the base, but that's something that I kind of prefer to see on the outside. Your, experiences may vary. You might prefer it the other way around. Either way. So let's just talk about weight and then I'll talk about sound. So 0.2 ounces. These are so light you basically won't even know you have them in your ears. And the base itself is 1.5 ounces. It's so light that when I pulled it out of the box, I was actually wondering whether I needed to put the battery in separately. It is a little bit big compared to some other brands. It's perhaps a little bit of a clumsier design, but it's so light that you can absolutely just toss this in your bag, your backpack, your purse, whatever, and basically forget you even have it until you need to recharge your earbuds, which is pretty much what you want. Now, in the box, it comes with, let's see, it's a sort of tricky packaging design that I had some issues with. Let's see if I can even get this thing to open. I don't know what it is nowadays. These packages are so tightly cut and designed that it can be tricky to open them at all. So then you have this insert foam that is for the separate pieces, and then underneath it comes with 2 other sizes of ear tips. And as with all of these devices, anything you put in your ear, you want to spend the time to make sure you get the right size tips, because it makes a significant difference with sound. And if you ever have something like wireless earbuds and you put them in and you say there's no bass at all, try the next size ear tips. It also comes with a pair of Comply premium foam tips and its own Comply instructions. So I don't tend to use those. You might want to try them just as a different, sort of see how they work. And then finally it comes with some instructions. But honestly, it's super easy. You turn them on. Oh, sorry. And it comes with a USB-C charging cable. Simple enough. But basically, you take them out of the box. You turn them on. You don't even have to turn them on. You literally take them out of the case and they are turned on. And then you go to whatever device, like your Pixel 5, and you say, cool, I'm going to go into Bluetooth pairing, and they show up and you tap and they're paired and you're done. That's it. So Bluetooth pairing has come a long way from when you had to do special button sequences and hold things down for extra seconds or anything like that. So all good. I like that they have all of these features. There's a couple of hiccups in the design from my perspective, but all in all, lots to like about these. So let's talk about the sound. So I'm going to be candid with you. These, maybe it's the Knowles balanced armature. I don't know what it is. These are treble heavy. They're not bass heavy. So even when I put in the largest ear tips, and even when I explored the EQ settings and stuff, I still wasn't able to really get a full rich bass. But for a lot of audio content, that's entirely fine. They also have these, they say that these are, what does it say here? For urban sports. So, from the perspective of having like sports earbuds, which these would work great for, then you don't really need a huge amount of bass. Maybe you like that. If you're listening to some like electronic music or something, you might miss that great drop. But the rest of it has so much clarity that it really is nice. And for listening to podcasts or audiobooks or, music with vocals or something, they're really clean. And the high end doesn't have that annoying bright tinniness that you get in some devices. So it's a very listenable experience, even at high volume. I do miss that bass though. And from a soundstage perspective, they're good. I mean, they're earbuds, but they definitely give you some sense of it being not just a flat amount of, the music's not just coming from a flat source, but that the instruments are spread out and there's a three-dimensionality to it. So all of that is good. So like I said, it's a good, clean, crisp sound, biased a little bit on the high end rather than the low end, something you might want to know. You might be able to compensate for that by fiddling with the EQ settings on your own source device. And I find that actually the iOS gives you better EQ settings than Android does. Not sure what that's about, but there might be some app that solves the problem. Anyway, I would say these are still a really solid option, and the pricing is actually really good on these too. They are not ANC. If you don't get the premium model, you don't get their AI voice assisted, but what you do get is a really nicely designed pair of earbuds that fit very comfortably, that you can easily listen to for many hours, and will give you a nice, clean, and precise playback of whatever you're listening to. And latency is basically invisible. There's like none. So if you want to watch videos or your favorite YouTube channel, like mine, thank you very much, then you're not going to have any latency issues, no out of sync voices or anything like that. So really lots to like, which gets us to the price. And the price is a little complicated because of Kickstarter. But before we get to the price, can I ask if you can subscribe to my channel? Really appreciate when you do that. It's just a tap or a click on that little red button on the lower right. Great. Now, these, let me open it up. These are the Soundpeats H1 Hybrid TWS Earbuds, and they're on Kickstarter right now, probably till, I guess, the middle of November or thereabouts, and then you'll have to go to the company's website. So, right now, on Kickstarter, the early bird pricing for a pair of these is $79. It's a pretty solid price. They say the retail price will be $119. I'm not sure they're going to go up that high, but who knows? $79 is still a really good price. And on Kickstarter, if you're worried about, well, are they going to make them? The answer is, obviously, they're already making them. They already have these prototypes. But more importantly, their goal on Kickstarter was to raise $12,000. And when I last checked, they were just a smidge shy of $100,000. So they've blown way past their goals. And there's definitely lots of money there for them to do that final step in production and packaging and get them all shipped. So no worries there. If you watch this video after the Kickstarter campaign has ended, then you can go to soundpeatsaudio.com and you can find out more about the Soundpeats H1 Hybrid TWS Earbuds. And with that, I'm going back to my music. So give me a second. As you can see, super quick and easy to put in. And I'm ready to go, which means I'll catch you in my next video.